welcome to night number 83 of History Bedtime Stories, in bed in our pajamas, and tonight we're talking about Dunbar Hospital. Dunbar Memorial Hospital was the first African-American hospital to open in Detroit, and it did so in 1917, but it was a long road to get there. In fact, it goes all the way back to the birth of James W. Ames in 1864 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Ames goes on to graduate from Straight University, which later on, long after he graduates, becomes Dillard University. Then he earns a medical degree from the historically black college, Howard University. At age 30, in 1894, he does what some of the best Detroiters have done. He moves to the city. He's not born here. He chooses this as his home. When he arrives in Detroit, he starts working as a physician and teaching, and at the same time runs for the Michigan House of Representatives in the 1890s. He's elected as the third ever African-American man to serve in the Michigan House of Representatives, and does so with aplomb. During that time, he is able to sort of build a network, and together with 30 African-American doctors, a group of nurses, philanthropists, and African-American civic leaders, he opens Dunbar Memorial Hospital in 1918. The building opens as a reuse of a former home. The house is at 580 Frederick Street, and it was owned by this very wealthy diamond merchant, a guy named Charles W. Warren, who is willing to sell to the hospital. So they convert this 2.5-story Romanesque revival house into a 27-bed hospital with an operating theater. Later, there are additions made for a nurses' school and a midwifery school, both of which help to dramatically lower the death rate for women in child labor here in the city of Detroit. In 1928, though, the hospital has outgrown. It is bursting at its seams. When the hospital opened, there were 30,000 African Americans in Detroit in 1917. By 1928, that number has swelled to over 75,000, and they need care. Now, you might be thinking, why? We had Grace Hospital and Harper and Hunsel. We had all of these hospitals. Why were people not getting care? It's because Detroit's hospitals, like most American hospitals, were segregated. They would not hire African-American nurses or physicians, and often would not treat African-American patients. So for a city with 65,000 African-American residents, there was one hospital with 27 beds. In 1928, that changes when Dunbar Memorial Hospital moves just a couple of blocks east and reopens as Parkside Hospital with 4 times the capacity. The name change to Parkside was a bit controversial, and in fact, I love the name Dunbar Memorial Hospital because it's an honor for Paul Laurence Dunbar. He was an American poet and considered to be one of the first African-American poets to earn international fame for his writing. He is also the man who penned the very first all-African-American musical to run on Broadway. He died at the age of 33 in 1906 of tuberculosis. He never saw Dunbar Memorial Hospital open, but his name gracing that hospital really spoke to the need for quality care for the African-American population. Thank goodness hospitals are today integrated, although statistics show that African-American populations often receive less care and have a harder time getting it than white or Caucasian populations. I hope you are enjoying History Bedtime Stories. Give us a like and a share, give us a comment, and if you do, we're going to put you on a raffle. We've got these super cool City of Detroit hologram stickers we want to stick all over all your stuff. We'll do a drawing next week. Wash your hands. We'll see you tomorrow night.